Welcome back. It's 7:11 right now. New York Governor Kathy Hochul continues closed-door meetings today with local political leaders about a path forward in the wake of the chaos at City Hall.
This while prosecutors go before a federal judge to explain why they're looking to drop those charges against the mayor. Today's court hearings will shape the mayor's future one way or another. Queens Borough President Donovan Richards met with Governor Hochul yesterday, and he is joining us this morning to discuss where everything stands. So, Borough President, great to see you this morning on such an important morning. Take us inside the meeting, first and foremost, on what exactly your conversation with the governor was. I was there for Al Sharpton when he came out and said she's not going to make any decision until court. But what was the conversation? What was she looking for from your guidance?
Well, let me start with saying we're living through tumultuous times, and we need a government that certainly is functioning, especially in light of what we see happening at the federal level, where we see every initiative from DEI to our public schools to so many things that are impacting everyday New Yorkers being challenged by this administration. So yesterday was really an opportunity to air out my concerns. And of course, my concerns stem from making sure that we have a functioning city hall, that we have deputy mayors in line who will ensure that the very things that New Yorkers need to have sound solutions to are being addressed. Governor Hochul certainly wanted to hear how are our constituents feeling, how am I doing, and what do I view a path forward for the mayor is. And I'll say today is really a defining moment for Mayor Adams with this 2 o'clock court appointment.
Did you advise her to remove the mayor?
I didn't do that because I believe that, obviously you're innocent till proven guilty. The mayor has not been convicted of anything as of yet. What I do find troubling, though, is certainly him being paraded around by Baltazar Homan, and Baltazar Homan had really relatively no respect for the mayor on Fox and Friends a few weeks ago when he said he was going to be up the mayor's butt. It is Black History Month. This is the second African-American mayor in our history. We don't want to just unilaterally remove him, but he needs to show that he has the trust of his constituents and the trust of the city that he will defend our values.
There has been so many resignations from the Southern District of New York to the deputy mayors, right? So I know you're not urging her to remove him because there's no criminality, but because of the distractions, because of the noise, and because of what you're saying, what we saw on Fox and Friends and so on and so forth, should the mayor resign then, in your opinion?
I think the voters will speak in June, but once again, just getting back to this afternoon is really going to be a defining moment because, just as you alluded to, not only do we have resignations, and if we see more mass resignations, we absolutely should be alarmed. But also, I think if the mayor is going to be distracted going back into this court case, depending on how Judge Holt rules, we need to see some real action.
Yeah, I guess the question that a lot of people have is, what does the court date have to do with anything that prelude before today, right? So say he drops the court case, right, and does exactly what the Justice Department wants. Does that satisfy your need that the mayor can continue in office, or is there just too much of a distraction, even with the case potentially being dropped?
If the case is dropped, I think the voters, and we have a few months, right? June is here. The voters, I think, will speak loud and clear. This is a democracy we live in, and you don't want to just unilaterally, once again, remove somebody. There's a reason why it's been over 250-something odd years before we've seen anything like this happen in our city's history. So you don't want to really set that precedence, but you want to make sure that we have a government functioning, and we'll be working very closely with Governor Hochul to make sure that that is happening.
So you're also a member of the Mayor's Inability Committee, which also can remove the mayor. But what are the stipulations, though, for that to happen?
Well, part of the challenge with this particular committee, and I will leave it to the legal minds to definitely continue to work with us on what the inability committee could possibly do. But as long as the mayor, the reason the inability committee was created is in the event that the mayor is incapacitated. Mayor Adams is still walking, he's still talking, he's still breathing. So we will have to look at, and remember, one of the reasons this inability committee was created during the charter was because Ed Koch had a slight stroke. And in the event of him not being able to function, you do need to have a committee that will work to make sure that either the next mayor is selected or there's a pathway to make sure that the city is functioning. So this is something we're looking at legally as a tool, but once again, most importantly, the voters will need to speak in June.
Yeah, I mean, Speaker Adams came out yesterday, said that this does not apply, that the inability committee does not apply, much like you said, because it has to do with somebody's mental health and cognitive ability to carry out the functions of the office. Brad Lander, who is also running for mayor and a member of the committee, seems to think differently, right? He thinks you can convene it. I just want to go back to the case today. And I don't mean to belabor the point, but if it goes one way or another, you were talking if we see more resignations, how many more do you need to see before you might say, well, there isn't the trust there? The 4 deputy mayors plus the whole host of resignations that happened in September.
Well, let me say this. My work has not been impacted. And remember, deputy mayors oversee commissioners, but, we pretty much still have every commissioner intact in the city, last I checked. So whether that's fire, NYPD, DOT, those are the people we work with exclusively every day. Now, the deputy mayors obviously handle the mayor's larger policy issues. So there is no impact relatively to the 2.4 million residents that I represent.
Gotcha.
But just going back to the court case today, I'm certainly watching very closely, and I think most people in my position are watching very closely because we will definitely have to reevaluate what the mayor's future looks like pending this court case this afternoon.
I mean, you've always said that the mayor needs a steady-handed leadership, right, at City Hall. But do you think the mayor can even make any of that happen without any of the support?
I think we have 400,000 workers across the city of New York who carry out their duty every day. The police department is still serving. The FDNY is still putting out fires, right? So we still have an obligation to make sure that this city is functioning. And obviously, you have checks and balances when it comes to the city council as well. So right now, like I said, I am not saying that there's not chaos, but the work continues, and you'll see a lot of that work next week as we kick off even Borough Hall on your block with many of his agencies. So, yes, it is a distraction, and we do need a mayor that is focused on the day-to-day to make sure that the city is running.
Okay. Borough President, I know that you're with your family, so thank you for taking the time this morning. Can you do me a favor? After the court case, can you come on back, keep us posted on what your thought process is? You're a very pivotal voice, being the longest-serving borough president within the city, so come on back, okay?
Absolutely. Will do.
Good to see you. Thank you very much for your time.
All righty. Bye.
All right, 7:19 right now. Let's get another check outside. Weather and traffic. Julie Millay looking at your roads and rails this morning.